Where is Lokesh? Hello, hi, a very happy good evening. So this is Krishna Ma'am. We're talking about the story of life on earth, and that's biology. So thank you so much for joining my session of New Beginning today. So today we are in lecture 3 of evolution. So we've been talking a lot of interesting things about evolution. So today we'll continue and give me one more lecture to finish off evolution. So evolution is not really that tough. So we can actually finish it off in one go, but we have split it into small parts of 25 to 30 minutes each, and then we are going forward so that it is easy for you to watch later. So whenever the video is of less time, it is interesting to watch, right? So that is the main reason I am doing it in bits and portions. Alright, so once again, thank you so much for watching my video, and please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. So are you really enjoying the videos of evolution? I hope you are doing. So I actually wanted to do the short videos that I'm doing, but I am not able to find a proper schedule to fit inside and do the recording. But don't worry, very soon I will do it for you. So I have a lot of interesting information to tell you. One is about why do you snore, and the other thing is about something interesting about diabetes I want to share. So very soon I'll bring videos on the same. Alright, so we're going to talk about evolution part 3. So I also want you guys to do an voting of how many of you need a motivational session in the near future. So can I have your votes, please? So based on your votes, I will fix a motivational session, because I feel that you guys enjoy the motivational session much more. So you can tell me if you need a motivational session. So probably I will take a vote or a poll so that I can in the near future schedule a motivational session. Alright, so here we go, evolution part 3. So I hope you guys didn't forget that our ancestors are monkeys and we have come from them, right? So this is a very beautiful GIF that I found, and it's very true. So this is how it happened. So this happened in the due course of time, and this did not happen overnight. So it happens over a period of time. So that is what is evolution. So evolution is not a fast process, it's a very slow process. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So evolution, yes, this is lecture 3 or part 3 of evolution. So let's move forward. So what evolution has to tell us, or what is that we have been talking about evolution? So we've been talking about the origin of life is done, evolution of life forms, the theory is done. We are also done with evidence of evolution. So we are also done with the natural selection theory, how natural selection supports a particular process of selection, with the examples of moth we spoke about. So then today we'll be talking about adaptive radiation and biological evolution. And if time permits, we'll also be talking about the mechanism of evolution. 𝐕𝐴𝐴𝐴𝐕𝐿 principle is for another lecture, so it will not happen today. And 𝐕𝐴𝐴𝐴𝐕𝐿 principle is very interesting because that's what links genetics to evolution. So it's a very interesting note. And then you have evolution of man. So how did this evolution happen? So that's what we are going to talk about. Right? So giving you a quick recap of what we spoke so far. So let's start. So in the last class, I was talking to you about what are the conclusions of Charles Darwin. So I hope you remember Charles Darwin is the father of evolution. He was a naturalist, and if you remember, he went on a sea voyage in his ship, that is your HMS Beagle, right? So and he gave us 3 conclusions, and among the 3 conclusions, so the last conclusion was about reproductive fitness, right? So we know Charles Darwin he is the father of evolution, and he gave one conclusion, the last conclusion alone I am talking, that a fitness of the population is based on reproductive fitness. So as long as the organism is able to sustain its progeny, so that is the fittest of the species of all, right? So then we went on to talk about what are the evidences of evolution. So what can you acquire? So how did I believe that a dinosaur existed millions of years ago? Because I have seen the skeleton of dinosaur in museum, I have seen people write about the fossils that have been excavated, right? So from where did I get the evidence for evolution? So the first evolution comes from fossil. So that is the paleontological evidence. So fossils are not formed overnight. Fossils are formed on sediments. So if a fossil is formed on a particular sediment, it means that organism lived during the formation of the sediments. So formation of sediment takes millions of years. So sediments are arranged on the rocks. So which layer of sediment, that depends on which year it happened, right? So the second evidence came from the embryological support by Ernst Haeckel. So he said that during the embryonic development, all organisms, they have the development of a small gill slit. So this is what he said as an embryological support, but this was overruled because in adult vertebrates we do not have the development of gill slits. It becomes vestigial in us and the development does not take. So this was not accepted, this was overruled. Yes ma'am, a very happy good evening. So thank you so much for joining my lecture today. So please do like, share and subscribe. So this is about the second evidence. So now talking about the third evidence. The third evidence is your comparative anatomy and morphology. So this comparative anatomy and morphology talks about two types of evolution. One is convergent evolution, the other one is divergent evolution, right? So let's talk about convergent and divergent evolution. So the first one is the divergent. Okay, so I have adaptive radiation. Okay, so I don't have much of slide. So probably I will have a slide after my adaptive radiation. Yeah, so we are talking about divergent evolution first. So from one point, if you diverge, so you have same structure here, but during the course of evolution, it led to have different functions. So since the structures are same, the structure is called as homologous structure. So homologous structure indicates a common ancestry. Fine. So examples of your divergent evolution include the limbs of dogs, of man and of whales. So we have the same structure but the function is different. So then you have the thorns and tendrils of cucurbita and bougainvillea. So they're also example of your homologous structures. So there's someone called Tarun Sharma. Yes, a very happy good afternoon. So probably good evening. So this is the first time I'm seeing you. So thank you so much for joining my lecture. So please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thank you so much Tarun for joining my session. So this is about the divergent evolution. The next evidence that we saw was your convergent evolution. So from different points you converge at the same assembly. So this is convergent evolution. So you have same, okay, so I have to write it like this. So you have different structures but same function. So since the structures are different, they are called as analogous structures. Fine? Okay. So examples here include the wings of the birds, and the butterfly, and then you have the flippers of the penguin and the dolphin, then you have the eye of human and octopus. So these are the different examples of your convergent evolution. Okay. Hi, W. Roy. Yes, a very happy good evening. So thank you so much for joining my lecture today. So please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Yes, this is all done. I'm just revising. Alright. Yeah. So this is where we stopped. But also I told you some points. For example, you should also understand when I say hemoglobin, hemoglobin has the same function in a lot of organisms. So this also talks about same structure but same function but different structures, right? So what am I saying? For convergent evolution that we were talking about just now, I am giving another example. For example, hemoglobin is a protein and it is present in all molecules, but the structure is the same, the function is the same, right? So hemoglobin has the same function everywhere, but the complexity can differ, so the structure is different. So this is also an example of convergent evolution. So then we spoke about what is called as methods for natural selection, how natural selection supports the process of evolution. So we saw the example of a moth. So moth is similar to a butterfly. Yes, Tarun Sharma, so thank you so much. So we have a moth. So we had moth, that is white moth and a brown winged moth. So in England, before industries came into picture, there was no pollution at all. So when nature was on its own, there was no pollution, there was no destruction, nothing, right? So only when man had this profitable mind coming up or the commercial mind coming up, that is when the destruction began, right? We continue to destroy Mother Earth even today, but yes, we cannot live without it. So we have various reasons, because everyone wants their own share of money, everyone wants their own share of food and luxury. So we cannot stop destroying nature in that case, right? Okay, so when industrialization started in your England, or before industrialization started, there was no pollution. So when there is no pollution, lichens are present on the bark of a tree. So lichens is a symbiotic association between your algae and the fungi, right? So the tree bark, which is very dark, is camouflaged or is covered by lichens. So lichens are light in color. So when the white-winged moth and the brown-winged moth go and sit on the tree, only the brown-winged moth is visible, right? So the birds only take up the white-winged moth and birds only take up the brown-winged moth and eat them. So as a result, the population of the brown-winged moth came down and the population of the white-winged moth went up, right? The same scenario was different after industrialization. When industries were set up, pollution started coming. When pollution is there, lichens will not grow. But when pollution is there, dust and soot particles come. So the dust and the soot particles were set on the bark of the tree. So now when the white-winged moth and the brown-winged moth go and sits on the tree, which will be visible? The white-winged moth, because of the dark background. So the white-winged moth will be easily spotted by the bird and its population will come down and the brown-winged population will go up, right? So before industrialization, the population of white-winged moth flourished. But after industrialization, its population declined. See how even natural selection supports evolution. So nature also should be a part of the survival. Alright, so this was what we saw. So today we are going to talk about what is called as adaptive radiation. So I told you Charles Darwin went on a trip, right? So this is Mr. Charles Darwin, the father of evolution, and he went on a trip to a particular type of island, and the island is called as Galapagos Island. Alright. So in this island, when he went on a journey, he saw a bird. So this bird was called as finches, but today it is popularly known as Darwin's finches. Okay. So he saw this bird in the Galapagos Island. So these islands are called as the Galapagos Island, and on this island he saw the bird that is called as finches. But he did a discovery based on these finches that today they are called as Darwin's finches. So what did he find so amazing in these birds is that this is your finch, but different varieties of the finch were present in the same region. That is what fascinated him. So let me give you a less easier example. For example, we have many varieties of dogs. You have a Labrador, you have an Alsatian, you have a Pug, you have a Pomeranian. So you have so many varieties. You have a Husky, you have a Golden Retriever. For example, if you go to a place like Alaska where it is very cold, you will only see Huskies. Very rarely you will see other breed, but you cannot see the normal breed that is surviving on the street roads in India. It is very tough for them to survive. Right? You cannot see an African elephant in the Indian subcontinent. It is very rare. So that they are different breeds of the same species, right? But Darwin found that there are different varieties of the same bird in the same island itself. For example, look at the beak of this bird. It is sharp and pointed, which means it can feed on seeds and the worms, right? Now see, don't read the theory, but see here. Look how the beak is modified. It is all the same bird. When he saw different varieties of the same bird in a particular region, because the bird's origin is the Galapagos Island. In the origin itself, it has so many varieties, and from the origin, it moves to different geographical regions. So he called that as your adaptive radiation. So the process of evolution of different species in a given geographical area, starting from a point and literally radiating to other areas of geography, is called as adaptive radiation. So in a particular point where they originated itself, there are many varieties. From here, it spreads out to different geographical distribution or different geographical locations. So he called this as your adaptive radiation. So examples of adaptive radiation include your Darwin's fishes and your Australian marsupials. So this is your Australian marsupials. So it originated from a particular island, but in the same island you had so many different species. So from the marsupial you had the Tasmanian wolf, you had the tiger cat, banded anteater, marsupial rat, kangaroo, wombat, bandicoot, koala, marsupial pole and sugar glider. So they were all from the same ancestor, and it gave you so many varieties, and all this happened in Australia itself. So this is called as adaptive radiation. Alright, did you understand? Fine. But now there's a small twist to this story. More than one adaptive radiation, okay, that appear to have occurred in an isolated geographical region is called as convergent evolution. So if one radiation happens, it is it is adaptive radiation. If two adaptive radiations happen together, it is called as convergent evolution. So let me tell you how. So we spoke about marsupials, yes. So marsupials showed adaptive radiation. Among all the species of the marsupial radiation, you had your Tasmanian wolf and placental wolf. So within this, you have different variation. So we spoke about the Tasmanian tiger, but the Tasmanian tiger itself can be of two types based on the presence or absence of placenta. So this is one adaptive radiation, and in one of the species, say in species X, again you have two varieties. So two adaptive variations are happening. So this is called as convergent evolution. Alright. So placental mammals in Australia exhibit adaptive radiation evolving into varieties. So here the example is your placental wolf and your Tasmanian wolf, that is your marsupials. Alright. Clear? So far we have been talking about adaptive radiation. So if more than one adaptive radiation happen, it is called as convergent evolution. So if this is more than one, it is called as convergent evolution. Clear? So now I am moving further to biological evolution. So evolution by natural selection. So now we have a strong evidence that for evolution, natural selection also plays a very important role from the example of our moth, right? So this evolution by natural selection, it started when the cellular life forms have different metabolic capability. So you have so many living organisms. If you have read living diversity in the living world, that is chapter 1 in class 11, you will be fascinated by the amount of living organisms that you have. Yes. So if you take kingdom Monera, kingdom Protista, kingdom fungi, the arrangement is different, the cell size is different, the metabolism that happens within it is different because the food that they eat is different. Yes. So this natural selection which supports evolution started when you had different life forms with different cellular structures and different metabolism happening. The metabolism in my body is different. The metabolism inside an elephant is different. The metabolism inside a monkey is different, right? So when this difference occurs, that is when natural selection happens. It selects the one which is best fit into this population, right? So essence of Darwinian theory lies on evolution. So Darwinian theory is about evolution and it is surely based on natural selection. So Darwin said evolution is based on the fittest of a population and the fittest is reproductive fitness, and natural selection supports your evolution, right? Yes. So the rate of appearance of new life forms is linked to the life cycle or the lifespan. So Tarun Sharma seems to be enjoying my class. Thank you so much. So he's pretty attentive as well. So he's giving me points so that it motivates me to speak much better. So thank you. So he said the rate of appearance of new life forms is linked to the life cycle or the lifespan. So one good example how I could explain this is we are still amidst the pandemic. I don't think corona has completely vanished. So anytime it can come back. So we also know the new strain, that is the Neocron, is coming, right, from Omicron. So if you have seen, this entire story of corona started in 2019. 2020 to be precise, okay? So it started off with 2019 end and 2020, 2021, and now we are in 2022. But in this short span, it is 3 years, though it was a long time for us to fret with it or cope up with it, but 3 years was a short time compared to the millions of years, right? So in this 3 years, how many variations you had in a small virus, right? So that is because the virus has a very less lifespan. So when the lifespan is less, evolution happens much quickly. The rate of evolution is linked to the life cycle or the lifespan. An elephant's lifespan on an average is 80 years, right? So the evolution in case of elephants will take millions of years to happen. It will not be so quick that it happened in case of a virus. So evolution in humans, for us to come from early man to humans, it took a lot of years because the evolution is directly linked to the lifespan of an individual. So if you talk about a crow has a lifespan of 15 to 22 years, probably you can say on an average. So if evolution has to happen, if a change has to come in the crow population, of course it will take so many years for that to come into picture. It will not come overnight. For example, in bacteria, the regeneration time is 20 minutes. So if I want to create a new variation or if I want to create a new mutation, it can happen within 20 minutes. We have read biotech. So if I mutate a gene in bacteria, the new generation will come to me in 20 minutes. In 1 hour, I will have 10^8 bacteria, right? So your lifespan links your rate of evolution. So this is a very, very important point. So examples are your microbes. For example, I have to grow bacteria. So if I have to grow bacteria in a plate, I will provide bacteria with a media. So media is the food for bacteria if I have to grow it in lab. Okay. So I have a population of bacteria A and it feeds on the media and it reproduces happily. Suddenly, if I change this media into a different one, probably A cannot survive, but it will gradually give rise to a new population of bacteria B. So when we were there before COVID, all of us survived happily. But when COVID came, so it took a lot of lives, telling us that only the more immune people are susceptible to survive more, right? So in the sense that the one who is able to cope up with the present condition will survive longer. So when I change the media, with the new media, a new group of bacteria grew. So evolution happened in bacteria within 20 minutes, right? Yes. So nature selects for fitness. So if I'm doing a medical counseling, so say if I am the national testing agency, right? So if I have to conduct a NEET counseling, I will make sure I will eliminate as many students as possible, but at the same time, I will select as many deserving candidates as possible. So why are they doing this? Because medicine is not an easy task, right? You should read, you should service, and you should do a lot of things. So it is not an easy task. For example, if a patient comes to you and says, I have this problem, and you say, hey, I omitted this chapter in my final exam, that's not going to work. A doctor cannot say so, right? You will never go back to the same doctor. What if the doctor says, I copied in my exam? How will you go to him? So the NEET counseling committee makes sure it only takes the best of the students who are able to survive, right? So I look for the best of students, right? If I have students here in my YouTube class, though I have 5 watching right now, so I look for the best of one student who is very attentive in my class. I don't care about the rest because I'm sure that one student will benefit from my class. So similarly, nature also looks for a population that can survive best. Only that population nature will select. Okay? So fitness is based on the characters that is inherited. For example, if an elephant learns to survive in a desert condition, that ability to survive in the desert condition will be passed on to the younger calf as well. The younger ones also will come up with the same ability to survive. So these fitness characteristics are inherited. So there is a genetic basis on getting selected and to evolve. So somewhere in the process of evolution, genetics is also involved, right? Yes, so adaptive ability is inherited. So if your mom was a very strong woman, if she survived in many hard conditions, sometimes the child will also have the same guts and courage, right? So that is getting inherited. So fitness is the end result after all. So fitness is what the natural selection and the evolution looks forward to. So if you look into this picture, so the crow loves eating the beetles, right? So initially there are more number of green beetles, but the crow loves only the green beetles and it does not choose the rust orange ones, right? So slowly the population of green beetles is coming down. And very quickly, orange beetle population outsmarts the green beetle population. Look, nature selection is choosing or supporting the fitness population, the fittest population, right? Is this clear? So this is biological evolution. So we'll stop here and we'll continue tomorrow. So the end result of today's class is fitness. So be fit in that particular situation or circumstance. For example, if you're giving NEET exam, make sure you're fit into that category. You want to get into NEET with a lot of passion, lot of interest, etc. Alright, so fitness is always important for you to fit into a particular situation, to fit into a particular group. So for example, I will not fit into the teachers community or the teaching community if I cannot speak. And if I cannot explain, so these are the two things that are exemplary to a teacher, right? So I have to fit into the population. So that is the fitness. So fitness is important everywhere, and fitness is the end result, all right? Yes, so with this we stop today's class. So I will be meeting you on Monday. So you're going to have a weekend, and Monday we'll meet and we'll talk about Hardy-Weinberg principle, and in between we'll talk about what is mutation as well. So what is causing the evolution? So why suddenly from monkey humans came? So that is because of mutation. So wait till Monday to know more about mutation and what is this Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium, what is this Hardy-Weinberg principle. So what did Hardy-Weinberg actually do? So we're going to talk about all this on Monday. So stay tuned for Monday at 4:15. So until then, this is me signing off. So take care and have a great weekend. Thank you and bye.